beauty and welcome to my channel. If you're new here, welcome. If you're a returning subscriber, welcome back. Today I'm going to be telling you about my college experience. I hope you find this video helpful and let's get into it. So I can't lie, my freshman year wasn't exactly what I planned it to be, especially because of everything that's going on. My second semester basically was cut in half, but I still think that there are valuable things that I learned that I can pass on to you guys and hope that you find them helpful too. So there are a few things that I'm sure everyone knows and I'm going to go over them, but then there might be some things that you might have not thought about, and I want to share those too. So first I'm going to go over moving into the dorms. I just find that is the beginning of the year, great start. First, I would say get to know your roommate, because your roommate really does make or break your freshman year. And I wouldn't say this if I didn't believe it was true. I saw a bunch of people who had roommate problems and it just, their freshman year kind of was ruined by it. Not like fully, but they definitely had problems and it just made the experience a lot less fun. So when you're picking out your roommate, please try to get to know them as best that you can. I know that's hard to say, but like get their number, FaceTime them, like try to get to know them so you know that that's the person that you want to spend a year with. I was really lucky and I moved in with my best friend, someone I've known for 7 years, and we've been best friends basically that whole period of time. And a lot of people told me that that's an awful idea and not to do it, but I think it's a great idea. At least my experience was great because I knew when my best friend was having a bad day how to handle that bad day, and it didn't turn into a fight. Now, I can't lie, there were some fights and there were some issues, but because I knew how my best friend was reacting and feeling, I knew not to take how I was feeling and blowing it up. Because there were some issues that I thought when they were happening, like I took them over the extreme. And I know that there are some problems that she took them to the over extreme too. But because we both know the reasons why we would have took them to the extreme, it made dealing with those problems a lot easier. The next piece of advice is, I know you want to buy a bunch of stuff to decorate your dorm before you're even in the dorm, but I did this. I bought a lot of stuff and I brought it to the dorm and it all worked out. But then I also bought things with my roommate when we got there and we had been living there, and it made the dorm feel a lot more homey, because not only did it feel like a home to me, but it felt more of a home to my roommate because we compiled our ideas and the things that we wanted and made it feel more like a home instead of just a college dorm room. It felt somewhere like if we were having a bad day we could go, if we wanted to have friends over we could go, and it felt like home to me. And I had a pretty good time in the dorms. There were some bad moments, but overall, I had a great time in the dorm. So if you can, don't buy everything. I know that's hard and you want to, but don't buy everything. Buy the things that you absolutely need, like your bed sheets, your pillow, and some dishes, soap, a shower caddy, like those things. But like decorations, those kind of things, if you don't have an idea of what your roommate likes, wait, go shopping with them. I know my side of the room was very much me and her side was very much her, But then throughout the year, I slowly started bringing things in to make it more of a home where it was both of us and not just one person living there. Because you don't want to be the roommate who takes over the room. And I'm sure my roommate would argue with me that I was that roommate, but she also didn't mind because she just let the decorating go to me. But that goes back to the first one, and knowing your roommate and knowing that she was okay with me decorating the room. But she knows me and she knows that that's something I like to do, and I decorated it in a way that I thought she would also like. So being considerate of your other roommate is so important, and it will stop a lot of fights if you just step out of what you're doing and consider how your roommate feels. And if you're going to do something and you don't know how your roommate would feel, and you don't feel like you can ask your roommate, ask a mutual friend, because they will tell you. Also, if you get into a fight, go to your RA, go to a mutual friend, talk to them before you blow things out of proportion. If you feel like you're not being listened to, get a different set of ears to play that conversation, because there were times where I got really overwhelmed, and she's my best friend, so she's the one I would have gone to, but there were problems within that, so I found a mutual friend. And normally they're like, think about from her perspective, would she have done it the same? Are you treating her fairly in this situation? And most of the times I was in the wrong, because sometimes you get so tunnel vision and it's just you, and you forget that you're living with someone else. So try to remember that you are living with someone else. That piece of advice actually leads into more advice. Who would have thought? I mentioned seeing your RA, talking to your RA. Now this is tricky. I want to say be friends with your RAs. They're going to help you out so much. That's true. But remember that they are your RAs, and they are there to help you and be the authoritative figure. They're not meant to be there to be your best friend. They're meant to be there so you can have the best college experience you can. That doesn't mean they're gonna let you get away with drinking and smoking within the halls or partying. They're gonna bust those, and you're gonna get in trouble. If you're gonna do those things, take it off campus, because you're gonna want your RAs on your side. And if you're doing those things, they're not going to be on your side. I had a few problems with some people in my dorm. They weren't major problems. We fixed it. We got over it. It's whatever. But because I found my RA a friend, I felt I could go to him for advice. But I knew that he wouldn't let me off the hook and hold me accountable for the situation also. And that's what an RA is supposed to do. An RA will also plan a lot of fun events, and I recommend you go to those events and not just stay in your room. And I know that sounds like advice that everyone gives, because it is advice everyone gives, because it's true. It's really good advice. And I didn't go to all of the events. You don't have to do that. There are events that you're not going to be interested in, and there are some events that are going to clash with classes and plans that you've already made, and that's okay. But if there is an event that interests you, try to go to the event. And even if the event doesn't interest you, you can go to the event anyways, because you can meet really cool people and make really cool friendships that you didn't expect. I think I went to maybe like 4 events that my hall had, and I regret not going to more of them because they were super fun, and I got to meet people, and I got to experience different things that I would have planned for myself, because the RAs, they're human too, and they plan things that they like. So if you want to be friends with your RAs, go into their events. 1, it's kiss-up points, and 2, you get to know them and what they like. I think this is the last piece of advice for the dorms that I'm going to give, but be respectful of your neighbors around you. If you know that they're going to work, maybe don't be too loud. I personally didn't have a huge problem with this because I'm a heavy sleeper, but I know my roommate did. There was a lot of noise in the dorms, and that's gonna happen. You can't escape it, it's a dorm. And there were drunk people, and there were people who stole stuff, and there were people who got up early in the morning and made noise. Noise is just going to be a thing that you're going to deal with in a dorm, and you eventually get used to it. At least that's what happened to me. I don't really know how much my roommate got used to the noise, but eventually the noise kind of dimmed down when we had our work schedule, because me and my roommate actually ended up working at the same job, and it flexed. But if you know your roommate or your next door neighbors, and you know that they have work on a certain day, when they told you that they have work or they have a test, like if there's communication going on, try to be as respectful as possible of that. I was lucky, and the person next to my bed, super respectful, became one of my best friends in college, in my opinion, even though we really didn't get to that level of friendship until recently. Like the last 2 weeks of college that we were in class, me and her really connected, and we're now watching Twilight together, and like it's a really fun time if you get to know your neighbors and you respect them, they'll respect you, and there will be conflict with them, but putting yourself in their shoes and trying to have open communication is so important. And I think that is the last bit of dorm room advice that I'm going to give you. Next is, I know it's advice that everyone gives, but join clubs, do things that intimidate you, at least for the first semester of college. You don't have to do it the whole year. If the clubs ain't for you, if the events aren't for you, that's fine. You said you can give it a try, and you won't regret trying, at least in the first semester, because you experience things that you should experience, and you're figuring out what you like, you're figuring out what you don't like. Like, I went to a football game. I went to 2. Not a fan of football. Didn't have a great time. One time I went completely alone and sat in the back of the stands. Wasn't a fun time. I have a video on that. I'll have it linked in the icon, which I believe should be over here if you want to see it. Didn't have a great time. The second time I went with one of my roommates for next year. Had a better time. We still ended up leaving and getting Starbucks before halftime. I'm not a football fan, but I also went to a hockey game, and I forgot how much I love hockey. So just stepping outside of the box, you really do experience things that you never experienced. If you can get your roommates or the people on your floor to go with you, you're gonna have a lot more fun. Just saying, you should try to make friends with people on your floor. You're gonna see them for the whole year. You might as well get to know them and their likes and their dislikes, because it's helpful. I also decided to become part of a religious group on campus. I've been religious most of my life, so I felt really at home there. I felt really welcomed. I liked what they taught. I liked how they functioned. So if you are religious, join a group, because not only are you going to find religion there that you already like, you're going to find people who are like you and are excited for that religion, and they will help you stay on track throughout college. Like, I had a small Bible study that I went to with probably some of my favorite people I've met in college, and they turned out to be seniors, and I was one of the only freshmen in that group. So I got a lot of advice from them and how they've been going through college, and that was super helpful, getting to know upperclassmen, because they helped me so much. They gave me advice on boys, they gave me advice on how to get around campus, they gave me food suggestions on and off campus, and they were there when I needed them, and like when I needed guidance, they were there. So if you can, join groups that you already have an interest in, because you're going to meet those upperclassmen and they're going to help you because you have a common interest, and you can create like really good friendships. And like the people I met in that group, I still talk to, not as often as I would like, which I'm gonna try to work on, especially because they're seniors and I probably won't see them unless I make that effort. But I want to because they are great people. So going around campus, if you're a freshman and you live on dorms, you'll probably have a meal plan. I struggled with a meal plan so much because I'm a very picky eater. All my friends can tell you I'm so picky. I don't like leftovers. Most of them I will eat leftovers, but I would prefer not to. And I had a meal plan where I had 10 transfers a week. That basically meant that I could get certain meals at certain places, which I kind of found a problem because there were a lot of places like I didn't like to eat. Like one of the buffets I didn't like, some of the restaurants I didn't like, so I just didn't use transfers there. There are a few places that I liked a lot and I constantly found myself eating. The first few weeks that you're there, try all the restaurants. Find out what you like and find what you don't like, because you don't want to just continuously go to one restaurant over and over and over because you're gonna get sick of the food. I think I found 4, maybe 5 restaurants that I liked on campus, and so I would have them on a rotation. I also kept macaroni and cheese and ramen, trail mix, jerky, chips, some granola bars, fruit snacks, and oatmeal in my dorm for the days that I didn't feel like eating what the campus had provided. So try all the restaurants, see what you don't like, see what you do like, then you can form a pattern of where you want to eat so you're not eating the same thing over and over again. Another thing with that is, because I had transfers, I always was like, I don't know how many transfers I have left, or because I don't want to waste money. I paid for that plan, I paid for those 10 meals, I might as well use them. So I made a bullet journal where I had 10 meals every week for as long as I went to college, and whenever I used one, I would mark it out. This helped me visually see how many meals I've used and how many I didn't. And this put it in perspective for me how much money I was wasting not using the meal plan. So I ended up, at the end of the week, I would work out with one of my friends, and then we would go to Starbucks after and use a transfer there. And that was our routine. We would go work out for an hour and a half, and then we'd go get Starbucks. And that was kind of how my transfers would end. I think I would always only use maybe 7 or 8 out of the 10 that I had. If I had extras, and I knew I had extras for sure, I would bring back my roommate a Starbucks on Saturday. I didn't do this often, but I did it a few times. And it's a nice way to surprise your roommate, especially if you know their order. So just showing a little bit of kindness to your roommate is a nice thing to do. Now, I mentioned the gym. My school, we already paid a fitness fee. I guess that's what it's called. Athletic fee probably is more what they would call it. And that basically paid for us to use the gym. So if you have the opportunity to use your school gym, I would recommend it, because 1, you're getting fit, and 2, you are getting out and not just being in your dorm, you're seeing new things. And if you can find a friend to go with you, you can have so much fun. Like, I went by myself a few times, didn't enjoy it, not a gym fan. When I go with one of my roommates, or my roommate for next year, it was so much fun. We talked while we were on the bicycles, and it made 30 minutes feel like 5 minutes. And we would do rowing, and it would turn 10 minutes into like 2. So time goes faster if you have a friend, at least in my experience. I also didn't do like hard hitting cardio where you couldn't talk, but that's just me. I'm not a fan of cardio, neither is my next year roommate. So we just didn't do cardio, and we both agreed on that. We did weights. We did a bike to warm up our muscles before we did weights. So that was really fun, and I enjoyed those, and I looked forward to hanging out with her and seeing her because we didn't live together. She was in a different hall, and we just like connected more. We went to high school together, and this was a way for us to continue to see each other and get fit, and also you can meet different people within the gym, and they're pretty cool, and they can help you and teach you new workouts and things that you didn't think of. So that was really cool. Now for the academic side of this advice. Not my favorite thing to talk about, because I feel like academically everyone is different, and that's okay. That's totally okay. Everyone learns differently. This is just the advice that I think if I would have told myself would have helped me. So I had a few friends in my hall, because how my halls are set up, you are all in the same college. So I'm a behavioral science major, so there are a bunch of other behavioral science majors in that building. So there was like there's the psych, there's the communications, there was criminal justice, and there were education majors. So I think there were more in there too, but that was like the group of friends that I had made. And so I had a class with a few education majors just because that's how it turned out. And when I was confused about what was going on in class, they were great to talk to. So again, if you make friends with the floor, you can plan classes with them for a semester, and then if you don't know what's going on, you can ask them. Or if you make friends in class, you can ask them. So I do recommend getting numbers of people in your class, making friends with them, because if you're confused, they can give you advice. Or I know I did this for a few people, but we had like a weekly quiz that a few people around me in my anthro class kept forgetting about. So whenever I did my test, I would text them and be like, hey guys, the test is up, it's open, you can take it when you want. Just to remind them that there was a test and it was open, because my teacher kind of didn't always post at the same time and wasn't consistent on the days always. There was a pattern, kind of. So I took that responsibility to notify them. I didn't do it always, but I did it a few weeks in a row, and then over time they didn't need the help because they found the pattern themselves. So that's what I tried to do to help them. They helped me understand some things in class that I didn't understand. So just trying to be helpful to the people around you. They'll be helpful back because you're all in the same boat. You're all trying to learn the same material. And most people will help you. And not a lot will be like, you're in college, you don't need the help. A lot of people are like, yeah, no, I get it. This is really hard. I don't know what's going on. Do you know what's going on? You don't know what's going on? Oh, maybe I have a friend in the same class, different day though. Maybe they know, and then they'll contact them, and then they'll know. That especially happened with my math class. It was me, my roommate, and then my future roommate were on the same class. My future roommate's roommate was in the class before us. We had another friend in the class before us also. So, and then I had another friend on a different day who had that class. So when we didn't understand the math, I was like, hey, do you know? Do you know? Do you know? And then if one was like, no, I don't know, and someone else know, and then they taught me, and then I would teach the person who didn't know. And that's basically how I passed math this semester, is that we all just like taught each other, because we did go offline. I mean, we went online. We left campus, so I no longer had the teacher to really help me, and I couldn't go to the lab to get help. So we were all just helping each other, and that's why it's important to make friends, because if you do end up having to go online middle of semester or something, you have those friends who can help you understand what's going on. So I mentioned professors. I had some really great professors, and I liked them a lot. I'm also someone who likes learning a lot, and I just like the things that the teachers can teach you if you let them is kind of amazing. I am a double major. One of my majors is communications, strategic communications with an emphasis of advertising, but that's besides the point. And those teachers can melt your brain. Like, the ideas that they teach, where you would think are really self-explanatory, once you get into the deeper ideas, your mind kind of just melts. And sometimes that's a lot to handle. I was lucky enough to have teachers who were really good at explaining what they taught. But if you didn't understand, you can go to something called office hours. I know that that sounds really scary, to go to your teacher by yourself and be like, I don't understand the material. They won't care. They won't care that you don't know what they're talking about, because they know you don't have their match. They know you don't have a master's degree in what they know that you don't have a master's degree in what they're teaching. Let me say that again. You don't have a master's degree in what they're teaching. They know that these concepts can be hard. They went through it themselves. They had to learn the material themselves. They could have struggled with it themselves. Professors, at least at my college, are really down to earth and understand that you're just trying to learn here. You're just trying to get your degree. You're trying to know what they're teaching. So they will be extremely appreciative for you being like, I don't understand what's going on. Mind blown. I went to an office hour once. I know, I just gave you all that advice to go to your office hours because I know you're human. And this experience is why I say that. We wrote a paper. I went in to get the paper. I saw some corrections and I didn't know why they were wrong. So I asked. I was like, why were they wrong? Like, I understand that they're wrong. And they were wrong. And I asked her. And she wrote out the correct answer. And she's like, this is what it was supposed to be. This is what you didn't have. What I was confused on was how to cite something. Because I was taught MLA citations. I was never taught APA citations. That's something you should, if you can get your English teachers to teach you APA, do that. Especially if you're going into social behavior science. You're going to use APA more than you're going to do MLA. Trust me. So she sat me down and she told me how to do it. And she was like, yeah, this is actually something that a lot of you struggled with. And that reassured me that I'm not stupid. I didn't understand. And now, because I had that reference in all the other papers, I referred to that reference and I got those marks correct. And I didn't get stupid points docked because I didn't understand. Because I went and asked her and she showed me. She didn't make me guess. She wasn't like, I guess that's right if you think. She flat out told me that I was wrong and this is how you do it. Which made me a better writer because I now know how to cite the way she was asking me to cite. So go to your office hours, especially if you got something wrong and you don't know why. Because they'll tell you and then you can fix it and get it right on other projects. Also, if you need help, if you need extra credit, go and ask them for it. My photography teacher gave me extra credit. Like, he was planning an event and he was like, if you come to this event, I'll give you extra credit. So I went to the event, found the event, really fascinated and enjoyed it, and then I got extra credit for it too. Like, he didn't make it hard. He didn't make me write an essay. He was just like, I want to see you there. I want people to come to this event. I think that this goes along with what we're talking about. Just come and I'll give you extra credit. And that's what happened. I got extra credit for going to a really cool photography presentation. So don't be afraid to talk to your teachers. They're human, they'll understand. Just don't wait till the last month of school to ask them for extra credit, to excuse assignments, or that you're having family troubles, or if you're going to an event. Like if you know that you have a wedding planned on a certain date that you're in class, tell them, be like, hey, I kind of have a wedding on this date. I just wanted to give you a heads up. I plan on doing the assignments still. I plan on emailing them to you. Because you're doing events outside of school, it is not the teacher's responsibility to give you extra credit or those things. But if you tell them ahead of time that you can't make it for a reason, and they know that reason, they are more likely to give you extra credit to make up those points. I'm just saying. They also, contrary to believe, at least at my school, they don't want you coming in sick. They don't want it. They don't want it. Especially with what's going on right now. They don't want you coming in sick. Don't come in sick. Don't do it. Don't do it to your classmates. Like, if you are honestly don't feel good and you're not doing good, contact your teachers. Be like, hey, I'm not doing good. Don't use this as an excuse to go out and party though. They know. Don't ask me how they know, but they know. They know when you're lying. Especially if it's like every time you're meeting. Some classes do have you can only miss so many days, but trust me, they do make exceptions if they are proven that they are needed. So just keep an open communication with your teachers. Talk to them, let them know what's going on, participate in class. These are easy ways to win over favors of your professors, even if you're in huge lectures, because they will notice you if you are the only person in your class that constantly talks. Like talks to them, not in class. Try not to do that. That will just aggravate them. My last piece of advice is making friends in college is not as easy as you think it will be. You see your high school friends every day and you just slowly form a connection. But in college, you see people twice a week, maybe, and you don't always sit in the same place. Like, you don't sit in the same place. There aren't assigned seats, even though there low-key are assigned seats. But if you don't try to make friends and you don't constantly try to talk to the people around you, you're not gonna make friends. And if you don't put in the effort into talking to people, the people around you aren't going to make an effort to talk to you. So really just have open communication with people around you and you'll be set in college. I hope that you guys found this advice I hope you guys found this advice helpful, and if you already have been in college and you've watched this through, I don't know why you did that, but thank you. If you have some more advice, please leave it in the comments down below, because I think everyone can do well with more advice. You don't have to take my advice, you don't have to take my word for my experiences. As long as you just consider what I said, that's all I ask. And I hope that it is helpful for you in the future. I hope you liked this video. If you did, please like the like button down below. If you want to see more of my content, you can click one of the two boxes over here or my face over here. If you want to see more of my life, you can check out my social media. There will be a link down below. I hope you all have a wonderful day, and remember to be yourself, because you're the only self you're ever going to be. Bye!